I'm going to build 100 things, one in each of these squares in the next 100 minutes. Let's begin. For some reason I decided to start things off by building a copper goblet full of water, but then I went for a bit more of a normal thing with a peaceful forest with seating followed by a point-blank archery range, a mini ancient city, an unfinished bamboo house, a small piece of the nether, and a rather plain looking blacksmith. And then a mini end city which kind of went horribly wrong and looked like it was shaped like a funnel. But the next vanilla Minecraft structure came out better with a piece of an ocean monument, but then fell apart again when I built a functioning but ugly piston door, and with that I was 10% of the way done. I was feeling good, but then things started going south when I decided to make a bed trap which completely failed, followed by a horrid looking warped wood house, then a broken secret lava entrance. So I went back to giving redstone a try with a pretty good little chest trap, then an amethyst geode and an arrow trap. But then things started going wrong again when I tried to build some modern art. And then worse when I decided to build an upside down house. I didn't even have time to make the bag, good grief, what is this thing? Then I built an overwatered garden and an end portal room, which finished off row 2. I started off on row 3 and attempted to build my logo, but at such a low resolution it's barely recognizable and it's also using the wrong colors. Then I built a satisfying jumping armor stand build, an auto gear equipper, but the chest plate part of it failed, and a strange little dock in a pond. So I decided to go back to art, which I immediately regretted, so I built a useless machine which is pretty satisfying to use. Then I built an overpriced redstone supply vending machine, and then I came to the spot directly across from the horrendous upside down house I built. But I came up with an ingenious solution and built a TNT cannon and destroyed it. Then I built a library and an only half working beacon color switcher which finished off row 3. As I came back to the start of row 4, I noticed the failed logo build that I made, which for some reason reminded me of Among Us, so I built one. Then I built a facade of a house, which I wasn't quite sure I liked, so I left it up to a chicken by building a chicken-controlled auto fireball machine gun. The chicken decided. It tried to destroy both the house and the Among Us, but unfortunately the Among Us was fireproof. Then I took an evil turn and hung a zombie by its feet above lava, and then went even more evil and built a noise machine. It completely scrambled my brain and I was unable to make a working skulk sensor trap in the next square. So I broke my own rules and disabled the noise machine. Then I built a mini game where you have to decide which button to press that doesn't have TNT. Then I built a gilded blackstone tree, a TNT player launcher, and a laser hitting the ground and blowing it up. And with that I'd finished 40% of the challenge. Then as I started row 5, I had a chance to get revenge on the Among Us I'd built, and made him a gun that was shooting at it. I was feeling good about the challenge and built a rather creepy emerald statue, and then a less than inspiring chicken pen, and a jail which I immediately got stuck inside. Then I decided to build a castle tower, but realized in time that it was too ambitious and made it into a ruin instead, which I really liked. Then things took an interesting turn when I built a boxing ring for a cow and a pig to fight, which they didn't, and then a thumbnail pile of riches. I tried to build a Greek temple which looks like a futuristic machine or maybe a skeleton hand, but then I saw the blackstone tree which reminded me that I should make an upside down tree, don't ask why. Then I finished off row 5 with a tiny roller coaster. Row 6 had a rocky start when I tried to build a Star Wars TIE fighter but couldn't finish it, and then I had a real stroke of genius and built a friend for the obviously lonely green statue. They became immediate bros, look how happy they are. And then everything fell apart when I attempted to build a self-portrait of myself sitting in the chair making this video. But this is not an accurate representation of me. My muscles are a lot bigger than that in real life. Then I built a coral reef which died because I forgot water, and then I built a disaster of a barn. I don't even know what happened here. Then I built a soul sand valley and a failed fishbowl, then decided to make a zoo. But I put a warden in with all the other animals, which unfortunately killed everything else, so I filled the pen with pandas instead. But all of the baby pandas were sneezing and making a racket, so in the next square I built an arrow machine gun to take them all out. But not only was the machine gun louder than the pandas, but one survived the barrage anyway. But I remedied both by shooting the last panda and building a triple piston extender to break the machine gun, thus finishing off row 6. Then in the first square of row 7 I tried to build a heart, but panicked when I was about to run out of time and just finished off the top right where it was, but it looked like the heart went on a diet and was very squashed. But things looked up when I built a crowd of people listening to someone speak, and then immediately went downhill again when I attempted to build a giant toilet paper roll. And then somehow my brain got confused and I built a dive instructor giving lessons on the next row over. But I got back on track and built a campsite and then a juice box, and a pretty effective dripstone trap. But then I tried to build an anvil swapper which would have worked, except I found out too late that you actually can't move anvils with pistons. But then I decided to build a sand drop trap, which I forgot to make a trigger for, so in frustration I triggered it manually hoping to send myself into the void. But I landed on the only block in the entire square, so I moved on and built a cool nether portal and ended row 7 with a tiny pyramid with a secret room underneath. When I came to the beginning of row 8, I was suddenly struck by how the failed heart looked like a Batman logo, so I built it. And then I built an orange bedrock portal to a new dimension, skipped over the dive class, and then built a stall for a vendor to sell stuff, but ran out of time to actually give him wares. I built an end pillar, an anvil trap, a hanging cage for a zombie, and a light up floor. Then my sister came in and I asked her for any word so I could have an idea for what to build in the next square. Say a random word.
Why?
So I built it. Then I made a beacon made of beacons, which got me 80% of the way to the end. I decided to keep up the squished heart-shaped trend by building a watermelon slice with a bite taken out of it, and then a lovely little bridge which I would like to build on a survival world. Then I wondered what it would look like if I put 5 layers of glass all in a row, and it looks like this. Then I wanted to build an enchanting setup with retractable bookshelves, but I actually ran out of time to make them retractable, so it's just an enchanting setup. Then I couldn't for the life of me remember how to build one of those old school door traps, so it ended up as a fail, but I made up for it by building a cool retractable bridge over lava. Then I built a Tatooine moisture evaporator, which looked kind of like a rocket ship, but I made up for that by building a house for a cow with a pen for its pet villager next to it, which I thought was very funny. Then I built a massive lantern with candles as light, and a stone fortress with zombie heads outside, thus getting me 90% of the way done. With frazzled brain, I started on the last row, the home straight. I kept up the 4th generation of the arc-shaped squashed heart trend by building a boomerang. Then I built a functioning but rather boring 2x2 piston door, then a funny little robot and another kind of piston door, which I also found very funny. Then I built a group of creepy hay bale pumpkin monsters, and then the worst house entrance ever. Then I built a pyramid of beds and a smoking brain representing my own, then a dude laying on the ground representing me after I finished the challenge. Also, obviously, I'm more buff than this in real life. And then as build 100, I built a toilet because at that point I really needed to use the bathroom. So there you go. 100 builds in 100 minutes. The link for this world as well as an empty template you can find to try yourself in the description. Thanks to Mumbo Jumbo for the idea for this video, and thanks to all of you for watching. I'll see you next time.